As Courtney Reagan joins us with a look at the choices retailers need to make and the prices that we all might pay for this holidays. Hopefully they're going to be lower, Court.
We'll see. Kind of depends on what you get. I mean, since April 2nd, trade deals, of course, have been negotiated with lower rates for some countries, though India tariffs are higher than initially announced. China remains in flux, and then other types of tariffs, like on upholstered furniture, for example, those have also been levied. So while the announcement initially rocked the sector, many large retailers have been able to mitigate much of the tariff costs. Levi, Ulta, Victoria's Secret, Tapestry, all up their share prices between 48 and 58% since April 2nd. Kohl's, Five Below, Elf Beauty, Wayfair, those are all up between 99 and 164% since April 2nd. Now, for the portion of tariff costs that can't be mitigated, retailers are basically making a choice. Pass along that tariff in the form of higher prices or eat it to grow or maintain share, but at the expense of profitability. So Urban Outfitters, Gap, Nike, they're all using what we call the portfolio approach to pricing. So they're holding some prices where shoppers are maybe more sensitive, but then increasing prices on products where consumers are willing to pay more for them. In their most recently reported quarters, Walmart, Five Below, Dollar General, and RH all reported margins lower than their respective average margins for that quarter the last 3 years, suggesting those are not among the retailers passing on as much of those costs and pricing. While tariffs have been largely well managed in the last 6 months, there is worry for the rest of the year. Retailers including RH, Macy's, VF Corp, and Walmart have all warned to some degree that the negative tariff pressure will likely increase as the year plays out. On its earnings call, RH CEO Gary Friedman said, quote, everybody's got to take pricing and your margins are going to get killed. And Macy's CEO Tony Spring recently said his fall forecast is more prudent than earlier this year, but he hopes to, quote, prove myself wrong.
How much is, when you talk about tariffs being mitigated, is that just a euphemism for transshipping? I mean, people basically shipping through Vietnam, Malaysia, all these other countries. It's like these tariffs have disappeared because we're not really seeing them on the price front. We're not really seeing them in the margins on the retail side. And we don't know what's happening in the countries themselves and some of its currency impacts.
Yep.
But how much is disappearing, do you think, through transshipment?
There are so many different factors. I think there's some portion of that. But a lot of retailers have said, look, we're changing up the factories. We're negotiating with those vendors on the ground. Maybe we're changing the product a little bit. Maybe we're not ordering as much of the product before. Maybe, we're going to have this product made here and now this product made here because the tariff rates, yes, they're there, but they're lower. So there's been an awful lot of things that have been going on. And, behind the scenes, retailers may give you some examples so that you understand that. So we know it's not all transshipping, but they don't want to really share it publicly because, to be fair, the supply chain is among one of the biggest competitive advantages for retailers. And it's been something no one's ever wanted to talk about until they were really forced to, say, 2016 and on.
I mean, the money's being collected, right? Yeah. I mean, so the government has certain, revenue levels there. And so in terms of like how it's all getting phased in, right? We've had these delays. Is next year going to look clean? I mean, can we at least say that on a year-over-year basis?
I think that's a really good point. I think the end of this year and maybe the first quarter could still look a little messy.
Yeah.
And then I think it evens out a little bit after that. So I think if we'll see more pain, it's going to be in the coming 2 quarters, maybe 2.5 quarters. And so some retailers did try to pull some of that inventory forward, but that's not without financial impact too, right? They've got to carry it somewhere as far as a cost perspective. And so some did that to a degree, but when you look at inventories, they weren't really markedly higher than the 3-year average, which I was somewhat surprised about because we ran that as well. In some cases, maybe yes. In some cases, no. So I do think it gets cleaner as we go forward. But we've had retailers at least soft warning, like, it looks okay now, but, we can't promise it's going to stay like that for the next 2 quarters.